I started producing 3 years ago.
Yeah, good fucking job, Riley.
And there's a lot that I know now that I wish I knew back then. Since then, I've worked with a few artists who get more than 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. I work with producers who I've looked up to, and I've worked with content creators who I used to watch. So here's what I wish I knew back then that I know now. There is absolutely no industry secret to mixing. Mixing is a lot easier than a lot of people make it seem, and all you really need for mixing is maybe a little bit of EQ and just leveling out the volumes of your sound. It's really important to mix by ear and not by some number you see on the screen, and every beat is different and your ear knows best. When you're mixing, you don't need to do anything unless there is actually something wrong. So a lot of the times people will just come into their EQ on their melody and cut out all the low end. But this is only something you need to do when you need to free up room for your 808. If your melody has a lot of low end like this, then to fix that clashing, you would come into your EQ and just cut out some of the lows from your melody. You don't want to cut out more than you absolutely have to. Side chaining should never be used as a band-aid for your drums. If your kick and 808 are clashing, there's way better ways to deal with it. Usually this happens because the waves aren't aligning and they're clashing. One way to fix that is just by pitching the kick up or down to wherever it sounds good. Another way in FL Studio is just by pressing the reverse polarity option, and this will flip the kick wave upside down. This is more of an overall mixing trick, and it's called EQ slotting. You can use this to fix any clashing frequencies, so your kick and 808 or melody components or whatever else it might be. In the clashing frequency range, you want to find what frequencies you want to boost. Boost that by about 2 decibels. Then with the other sound, you want to decrease that by about 2 decibels. There's no industry secret to making your drums hit. The 2 ingredients you need to have a hard-hitting 808 are loudness and a soft clipper. On your master channel, you want to have a soft clipper, and if you're using Fruity Soft Clipper, you just want the default settings. And you want your 808 to be loud. This is going to trigger the soft clipper, and it's going to hit super hard. A lot of good drum patterns use the same bass to make up the full pattern. This is a really common pattern for your 808, but it's really important to know when to get creative and where to get creative. One way to get creative with your 808 is simply by removing some of those notes. Another way is by adding in some notes. And if you really want to get creative with your 808, the best place to do it is on the 4th and the 8th bar. You can do 808 rolls with the velocity slowly increasing. You can slide from a muted 808 to create a reverse 808 effect. And you can do anything else you think of that sounds good. Rhythm is one of the most important things for melodies. Your rhythm needs to work with your drums. Here my melody has a bunch of triplets, and I'm using a 2-step hi-hat pattern. These rhythms aren't the same, they don't line up, and it doesn't sound good. The rhythm of your melody also needs to work in general. The best way to structure your melodies is by creating a 1 or a 2 bar pattern, copying that pattern over, and then just changing up some of the notes. You can then just copy that 2 bar pattern over again, change up some of the notes, and then add in a few more notes on the 4th bar. A really easy way to understand the relation between notes and how they sound is with semitones and whole tones. Notes that are side by side each other are a semitone apart, and notes where there's a note between them are a whole tone apart. So notes that are a semitone apart are going to sound dark. Notes that are a whole tone apart are going to sound sad. Notes that are 3 semitones apart are going to sound anthemic. Good sound selection is key. You can polish a turd as much as you want, but at the end of the day, it's still a turd. So it's crucial to use good sounds right away. And I have a video all about sound selection up there. You might be wondering, when is a beat done? And a beat is done when it sounds like it's just missing one thing, and that one thing is the artist's vocals. Overall, learning anything takes time and practice. You can watch videos on YouTube all you want about how to shoot a basketball, but you won't be able to make a shot until you actually practice.